Hi everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. If you guys have been following the RC news, you would have seen that Redcat recently announced 3 new very exciting products, one of which being the Redcat Ascent. Comp style crawler is basically a full frame, like flat rail frame, 1.9 cheater rig style vehicle, very similar to the SCX-10 Pro. Though for over $100 less, you get a full RTR package, decent tires, decent body, decent basic setup, new very nice radio. Very exciting release. And it does seem like some of the bigger channels are getting the review copies of that vehicle in. And in normal circumstances, I would have been one of the first ones to pre-order that vehicle to check out for you guys. Though unfortunately, due to my current financial and personal situation, I probably won't be able to get my hands on that vehicle for a very long time. So I thought in the meantime, I would show you guys my surviving Redcat vehicles in my collection, kind of what I've been doing to them. So starting off, we have my Redcat Gen 9 Scout 800. This is a truck I've been kind of messing around with for a while, kind of off the channel, behind the scenes. I've been wanting a kind of a tow rig for some of my other vehicles, especially since I like taking walks and stuff. I wanted a trail truck that was capable of doing some light duty crawling, had a decent 2-speed transmission so it could have a decent pace, because I do tend to walk kind of fast. My GS01 G-Made crawlers are pretty decent trail trucks, though being a single speed, they're not very fast. And then my GS02s do have 2 speeds and they're decently fast, though because of the overdrive that's in them, they don't really like to be driven on the pavement or high traction areas for very long without damaging the drivetrain. So ideally I wanted something with a decent 2-speed transmission, decent steel looks, decent towing capability, and ideally no overdrive. So the TRX4 that I had would have been the perfect candidate for this kind of application, especially since it has unlocking diffs in addition to the 2-speed transmission. But I've been doing a purge of all my Traxxas vehicles. I no longer own any Traxxas vehicles. I've been trying to keep my collection down to like a couple brands, like a few brands, so I don't have to buy as many different parts from different places. And since I've owned the Gen 7, Gen 8 a couple times, Wendigo, I already have a few parts that are compatible with this truck already. And I'm already kind of familiar with the Redcat design philosophy, so I thought it'd be a better fit for my collection. In addition to the fact that selling my TRX4, I was basically able to get this truck for basically straight trade $0, because the Gen 9 is a less expensive truck to begin with than the TRX4, but on top of that, this truck has gone on sale a couple times. TRX4 almost never goes on sale, so basically was able to get this truck for no money lost, which is nice. And the unlocking diff, even though it is pretty cool, most of the driving that the tow rig does and a lot of my walking is just straight lines anyway, so it really wouldn't have mattered all that much. And the steering radius of this truck is very, very good. So again, didn't really bother me that much. It's just one less thing to break. So overall, that would be a better fit into my collection. So the first thing I really wanted to do was improve the look of the truck. While I really liked the new features that the Gen 9 had, I wasn't a big fan of how the Scout 800 body looked compared to the Scout 2. Scout 2 I think had a much more interesting shape to the body, whereas this one very square, very straight, very bland. So the first thing I wanted to do was improve the look. So very first thing I had to do out of the box was replace the mirrors, because like a lot of Gen 9s out of the box, one of my mirrors was broken and the other one probably fell off while I was kind of doing a performance test of it straight out of the box. Was kind of curious just how it would handle with the new features and new tires and stuff. So with its role as a tow rig now, hopefully the mirrors will survive a bit longer. The other very obvious thing that's changed is the color. I picked up the silver version so I could paint on the outside with this Tamiya cobalt green. I think it looks very nice, though with the color. It kind of looks similar to the Axial early Bronco model, and some people have mistaken this truck for that, which is kind of funny. Hence why I decided to cover part of the white stripe here with the Gen 9, so it's a bit more obvious that this is a Gen 9. Eventually I do want to get a clear body for this and actually do a proper paint job, paint on the inside, flat clear on the outside, the whole deal. So the paint, I won't have to worry about the paint scraping off or anything. But I paid for this body. It's perfectly fine right now. So working with what I've got at the moment, and I think it looks pretty nice. The Redcat decals that they've included also kind of adds the extra flair to the truck. The other thing I changed was the front bumper. This is off of a Gen 8. The factory Gen 9 front bumper looks very bland, very boring, very flat. The Gen 8 bumper looks a little more interesting, has the bull bar, LED provisions. It's kind of cut in at the corners here for a little bit better clearance. I think it looks way, way better than the stock bumper. Also, it was free because I already had one laying around. And at the rear, to kind of even out the boxy look of it, I added a spare tire to the back. And you can see my spare wheel matches my actual wheel. And that's actually because the wheels in the Gen 9 are actually the same wheels as the Gen 8. The only thing they changed was adding this little plastic ring to it to kind of make it look like a different beadlock wheel. But it's just a little plastic piece, just 6 screws. The rest of the screws are fake. I personally thought it looked pretty cheap. I thought the actual aluminum beadlock ring would look way cooler. So decided to take these off and go with this look. And also this way it matches my spare tire as well. So that's an added bonus. So being a tow rig, of course it needs a tow hitch. And this is a Redcat optional part. It's not very expensive. Though I decided to not use the included ball hitch and just kind of make my own hitch using a cap screw and a body pin. It works way better for my application in my particular trailer. I can just take the pin out, line up my trailer, just drop it in like that, and then just slide the pin in. Very quick hitch mount, nice and secure, has enough flex for it to kind of go up hills and stuff still. I thought it was a better option than trying to figure out how to mount the ball hitch using the available hitches that I had for the trailer itself. And also this way, there's no risk of like anything popping off or anything. It's still decently secure because of the body clip. I just like this situation way, way better. You can see underneath that it just mounts to the bumper mount itself. So nice and secure. You don't have to modify your factory bumper or anything. And it's kind of at a cut in here, so you can still kind of climb over some obstacles and stuff. So very nice little trailer hitch. I like it very much. Nice and secure, no slack or anything. So very, very nice trailer hitch. You can see we have the original Halo 1 Master Chief driving our little Scout here. Because the Scout 800 body that Redcat made is slightly oversized than 10 scale, your typical 10 scale drivers are going to be too small for this truck. So I wanted a driver that was a little bit better sized. He is actually slightly too large, but considering the fact that he has like power armor on and he's supposed to be like a 7-foot tall man, I think he looks pretty scale in there and he fits pretty decently. I didn't really have to modify it too much, so I did have to kind of shave down his ass a little bit so he would sit down a little bit lower. But other than that, not much modification had to be done. The wheel well isn't as deep as it would be on an actual truck, but it's decently deep enough to give kind of like a deep interior look. The only problem that this particular driver poses is it's kind of a hefty figure. It's a old vintage Halo 1 Joyride action figure, so decent weight to it. And because the truck tends to torque twist this way to begin with the driver, it kind of twists really bad and body rolls really bad this way. So with the body off, you can see I have a bunch of weights on the other side to kind of counteract it. So it still body rolls really bad onto one side, though now going straight, it no longer like torque twists as bad anymore with the weights here. So kind of the sacrifices you need to make depending on what kind of driver figure you put in here. So again, being a tow rig, it's not going to be doing a lot of high performance driving a lot, so don't really care about the extra weight. The extra weight would actually help with the tow rig, since you kind of want your tow rig to have a little bit more mass than the thing you're towing, just so it can actually get the traction to tow the thing you want to tow. The other thing I added was I added the Redcat light unit for the Gen 9. Previously I had this like cheap eBay one on it, and it worked okay. There was a lot more wires to juggle through. The wires weren't long enough for this particular body, and also where I could mount it, the body wouldn't close all the way. Bunch of different issues, so I thought I would just make it easy on myself and just get the unit that was designed for it. So it includes the two headlights, brake lights, reverse light, and then two lights for the dash. And the dash is actually pretty unique, though it's not the best execution, but it's cool that it's something. And Redcat actually intended for you to mount the light unit to the chassis itself, but I decided to mount it to the body, so I have just less wires to deal with when I'm opening the body and stuff. And also the unit is waterproof, so that should make it a little bit more stress-free when I'm driving it around, regardless of the weather, whether I'm driving it in snow or whatever, it should be much safer. But you probably want to see what those dash lights look like. You can see there, that's kind of what the dash lights look like. Pretty cool, though a couple of the gauges are brighter than the other ones just because of the way the LEDs are placed. And just more of a look on the interior. Place some of the Redcat like floor mat stickers and stuff in there to give it a bit nicer look. Even the little speakers in the door, little windows and door handles and stuff. Overall, very happy with how this truck looks now. I'll show you the functionality of this too real quick. So standing still, it has also a few options. You can go through the instruction manual for that. But I have mine set up so standing still, brake lights are on. Whenever there's throttle, brake lights turn off and dim. And then going reverse, the reverse lights will come on. So decent little kit. Really happy with it. So the rest of the truck is pretty much stock. Other than that, it's a really great truck, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. I really haven't seen the need to upgrade anything really. The stock tires work great. If you're probably in a full like performance-oriented truck, this is probably not the truck you're looking at anyway, especially with the big heavy body. And the truck overall, even in stock form without any of the weights with the driver, it's already a very heavy vehicle. I just added weights to the wheels, the chassis and stuff, just for better towing capability and stuff, and also just better center of gravity for the wheels. I do have this optional Redcat Metal Gear shifter servo that I could put in it, but I'm going to wait till the stock one blows up before I do that. My only real complaint about this truck is the fact that they did not include a FlySky radio anymore. They included this, I believe it's a Dumbo RC radio, from what I've heard. And they supposedly did it so they could have the shifting function. Though the standard FlySky receiver that they include on most of their vehicles is actually a 3-channel receiver to begin with. So they have plenty of channels for the receiver. They could have just chosen a different FlySky model, maybe, for the radio. So that way I could still bind it to my FSGT5. This guy right here, which is what I bind most of my Redcat stuff to. So that is a little bit disappointing, though it is a decent enough radio. It's fine. So this truck has been very reliable for me. I love how it looks now. I just thought I didn't have to change much on it. I guess the only performance mod that I've really done to it is adding weights to the wheels, but that's pretty much it. And it performs great. It still crawls decently, and it's an amazing tow rig. I love this truck. And the new Ascent that came out is essentially a cheater rig version of this truck. When you build trucks like that, usually the only thing you keep from the previous truck are the axles, and both trucks share the same axle. So if you want a higher performing vehicle, get the Ascent. If you want a more scale looking trail truck with more features, get the Gen 9. Both are, I'm sure, amazing vehicles. This one has been very reliable for me. The only real issue I've had is a CVD. A screw came out from the CVD and I had to rebuild that with Loctite. So if you do get one, Loctite the screw in the CVD and you really shouldn't have an issue. The other minor issue I've had is the transmission when you shift is a little bit crunchy, but I've never had it fail on me. And it's very obvious what gear you're in. So it's not really that much of an issue, just something to keep an eye on and just be careful with. But with that said, if you're interested in either the Gen 9 or the new Ascent or any of the other new Redcat releases or previous models, I do have an affiliate link in the description. So if you purchase a Redcat vehicle through that link, it would help me out greatly. So check out the link, check out the Gen 9, and onward with the rest of this video. So for long-time viewers of the channel, this might look familiar to you guys. This, believe it or not, despite the fact that it says ECX on the side, is actually a Redcat landslide. It used to be a monster truck, but as you can see, I've done a full buggy conversion on it. I've done videos of how to do that previously on my channel, so if you would like, you can check out those videos. They are older videos, so for newer viewers, yes, my voice sounds different there. It's just what it is. But this thing has gotten a little bit of love recently. For once, it's been kind of collecting dust at the corner of my room for a while. But I did take it for a spin. It still drives great. The tires are pretty bald. Now you can see how much I've been driving it. I do have a new set of tires for this that I could put on, but I want to get these fully bald before I move on to the new tires. But the TLDR and the buggy conversion parts that I've done to this, the main thing is the M2C Racing parts that I've put on it. There's this main upper brace, and the new addition is the M2C Racing chassis. So a very common issue that the landslides had was if you landed any jumps, the chassis was very, very flexible and it tended to bend and just bend the whole chassis. And even though it had a lot of potential, because of that issue alone, I really couldn't recommend it to a lot of people. And it does seem like Redcat has discontinued that truck in favor of their new Machete. So if you're looking for a 4S kind of truggy, buggy, monster truck kind of thing, maybe check out the Machete. I haven't checked out that truck in detail, so I can't say whether I recommend that truck or not yet, but it does seem like an improvement over the old landslide. Though with the mods that I've done to it, to these M2C Racing upper brace combined with the chassis. This thing is very, very stiff and it's an absolute tank. It's very heavy, though it's no longer going to have an issue with anything bending or anything. Honestly, at this point, it has so much mass, the plastic pieces are going to break much faster than anything else. I also have metal gears in this, so it's an absolute screamer. Hence why this particular project I named Project Banshee, because it's a very, very loud vehicle. Unfortunately, like I said, the truck itself has been discontinued. Both of these parts have been discontinued as well. So it's kind of a special car in my collection. I have a lot of fun with it, though. Once this thing is completely ruined, that's kind of the end of the line for this thing, because unfortunately everything's slowly getting discontinued for it, and it's just how it is sometimes. I do have some stock of parts, kind of just in case, but once those run out, that's kind of the end of the line for this thing. I did recently break an arm, so it has a new upper arm, new front bumper. I still need to pull the trigger and get that proper Proline body for this, instead of this cheap duct taped eBay body. Because it drives and performs great. The only thing that's really left to do on it, it's make it actually look nice. So now that the chassis is installed finally and it's getting some love, once I have some funds coming back in for hobby stuff, maybe I'll actually pull the trigger and get this thing looking pretty again. Previously, I would have had a lot more Redcat vehicles in my collection, though these are my only two surviving Redcat vehicles at the moment. Though I'm glad it's at least these two, because they're both very, very enjoyable vehicles. This is very fun. This is very fun for a whole other reason, but they're both very enjoyable vehicles. And if you are interested in any Redcat vehicle, do check out my affiliate link in the description. It would help me out greatly. And I thank everyone for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day and have fun with RC.